And welcome to episode 339 of Sports on the Hill podcast. The Caps got swept or bounced by the New York Rangers. Um, we've got a full group tonight discussing this with us live. We got both of the hosts of the Power Play Point podcast. We've got Gil, the Blue Liner, on point. We got Anna Knox as well. And we also have Jenaya from Jenaya Talks Caps podcast as well. So we are live, I believe, on all platforms, but I will be double checking because technology. But yeah, it's a bittersweet episode, obviously. I am very proud of the Caps for making the playoffs. We talked about that the last two episodes. I was hoping to win one, so that way this week we would still be in the playoffs. But I think we were just delaying the inevitable, and we're going to lose Game 5 in New York, even if we had won Game 4. I didn't see enough that made me think that they were going to make it a long series. And most of these series actually aren't going as long as people expected or might not. So we'll be watching a couple of different games tonight live on the show. I'm watching two playoff basketball games. It's intermission in a hockey game, and then there's going to be another hockey game coming up. So we'll be talking about all of that during the show as well. So it'll be a big night. So the first hour, we're going to have a chat amongst these Caps fans for a little bit, and then for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to bring in a friend of mine named Scott. He goes by Firestone Rocks Drums. On Twitch. He's a drummer on Twitch, but he also is a big time New York super fan that actually lives in Florida. But he's rooted for these teams for 30 years. And I did say, win or lose, he would be welcome to join the show and talk about it. He is a reasonable Rangers fan, I would say, and doesn't talk a lot of trash, which I appreciate, but just a good fan of the team, which I appreciate. Also, not a fan just because they're doing well, but like a fan through and through every season, which I also appreciate because a lot of Rangers fans have popped up again overnight. But anyway, we'll talk to him. We're also going to have C4, Cheryl Ann Forrester join us as well, talking about her experience going to Game 4, which would be fun. And we'll all just kind of recap the season together. We'll let Anna go, not make it too long for her because she's in a hot house tonight. But we will then shift gears. I'm going to talk a little Knicks with Scott before he leaves, and that'll roll into some NBA coverage in the second hour. We'll also talk about the draft. Unfortunately, the DC Defenders got destroyed. We'll have to talk about that. DC United did win. The Nationals got swept in a series and then swept a team in a series, and the Orioles went every other game with a win and a loss. So a lot of different sports, a lot of different topics we will get into tonight in what I was planned to be a 2 hour show, but probably 2.5 hour show. So we'll start off with saying hello, Jenaya. How are you doing?
I am good. You know what? I'm not just good. I'm better than I have ever felt after we have lost a playoff series. I will say that. I'm not like feeling crushed by this one. I was kind of expecting them to lose. I think that we went in with no expectations, playing with house money. And yeah, it's funny to say, but I don't feel that bad about losing. And I think that's the first time I can probably ever say that.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same way. That's why I know that technically we got swept. I'm almost thinking bounce just because I feel like the better team knocked us out, but I didn't feel like we were swept, like we didn't put effort forward or the other team just destroyed us and it was like, beating us 10-0 and everything. Like we were in the games, we played well. I think it's a great learning experience for so many of our young superstars. And I don't want to say good about it because I can never feel good about it when the Caps get bounced. But I definitely I would agree with you that I've now been a fan for 25 years, and I would say of those 25 years, this is the one that ended with me being the least upset. So, well, other than the Stanley Cup victory, which obviously, but yeah, we always end up short on the short end, right? Except for that one year, and this one I felt kind of the best about it. But Gil, what are some of your thoughts coming out of it?
Well, I hate to be the one to be pat themselves on the back, but did I not say that losing four straight games, as long as they were somewhat competitive, would not be a bad thing? Well, that's where we are. That's what happened. Not that I'm any great soothsayer or anything like that, but you know, but I'm with Jenaya. I'm not feeling bad at all. Um, we lost to the President's Trophy winning team, and they achieved that for a lot of reasons. They are a very good hockey team. The better team won this series. Um, I felt the same way at first when the last loss came, like I did in '98 when Detroit swept us in the Cup final. But the more you think about it, the more you come to realize, hey, you know what? It's a step in the right direction. It took 20 bloody years after that to get to an actual cup, but at least this time around, there's a plan in place. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, it's not a train coming the other way. But I, seriously, though, I really feel like this is a major stepping stone towards something great. You can feel the beginning of what is to be a great team, I think, and that's why we all have cause to feel pretty good.
And I was going to say too, like, I just wanted to add that as well. Like, if people remember, the Rangers were kind of in the exact spot that we're in right now just a few years ago. Like, remember they sent out that statement or that letter to their fan base, and they were like, "We're gonna rebuild. This is gonna suck. Just be patient." And if you do it right, like they kind of did a similar thing to what the Caps are doing now. Like it wasn't like a full tear it down and a full rebuild. It was kind of more of like a retooling. And a few years later, now they're winning the President's Trophy. And all they did was they kept all of their young guys. They let them, kind of get used to the NHL and grow into bigger roles. And then they went and spent money pretty wisely in free agency. And that's kind of exactly where the Caps are at right now, too. Like we have all of these young players, all of these really good young players who are getting this experience. I'm so happy that we got into the playoffs just so that they could get that taste of playoff hockey, get that experience, feel what it's like, and they're going to be so much more ready for it next time. Alex Ovechkin even talked about that yesterday when the game ended. Like these kids are going to be so much better now going into next year just for having this experience. So those young kids, we already have them here. They're getting that experience. And then we have a ton of cap space now as well that if they spend it wisely, we can shoot right back up pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what we do. We have certain players that are under contract. It's interesting to read the Caps rooms, after this loss, which some of these rooms were horrible to the team. Like, I was like, why aren't you just happy that we're there? Like, it's so funny reading Detroit Red Wings message boards, which I don't know why somehow I like got into one at one point and then it thinks that I like that content, so I get to see a lot of salty Red Wings fans response to this whole thing. Facebook's a weird place. Like it's just like but watching, like, you should just be happy that we're getting this experience or whatever. I do wonder though if we should have started Darcy in one game though. In retrospect, was he so bad this year they didn't even deserve one? I know that we had talked about it, a couple of weeks ago and we thought yes, but I don't know. I still am kind of the mindset we needed to change things. I am not saying that he would have done incredible things, but he had the experience. I don't know. I don't know. Jenaya, what are your thoughts? I know he wasn't very good for us this season, but we have 3 more years on the contract with
Yeah,
him.
I know. I hope they can get rid of that contract, honestly, if he doesn't bounce back next season, because I think if he doesn't
How do you
bounce
get
back,
rid of it
like
though? Like
if
who's
he
gonna
well,
take?
you'd have to attach something to it or eat a part of it like they did with Kuznetsov or something along those lines. But it's just he was so bad this season. But to be fair, like when I said last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever that episode was that we had talked about that, when I had said like unequivocally no, I would not put him into this series even if we were getting blown out, that was because I was thinking that if we were getting blown out, it wasn't going to be on Charlie Lindgren. Like it wasn't going to be his fault. I thought that he was going to be playing well as he had all season long. So my opinion kind of changed a little bit. And I can admit when I was maybe a little bit wrong, like because I didn't foresee this coming. Like I didn't foresee Chucky struggling as much as he did in the playoffs. It's not that he was bad. He just like there was definitely some goals that he would want to have back. I mean, you can just look at the save percentage. Like it's not good. Like you can't sugarcoat it.
What
And
sucks
then
is
you
on the
have,
last game, I thought he played his best game. You're right, and so
yeah, yeah.
And so
And
that was
then the winning goal is like it's garbage. It's so bad. Like the winning goal was just brutal. Like as a goalie, like that just it should never ever ever go in. I know it's on the power play, but it's like it's a body shot that just leaks under his arm and goes in. Like and he didn't let those in all season. So I feel really terrible for him because he's the reason why we're here. Like he got us to the playoffs. We never would have made the playoffs if we had to start Darcy Kemper all season. So I don't want to really come on here and like rail on Chucky or like, you
yeah,
know, put
no,
this on him because I feel I would feel bad in doing that because he's the reason why we made it to the playoffs in the first place. But I just wish for him that he would have had a better performance because I think he was so wanting that and he was so ready to have his time to shine. And it's really unfortunate that it didn't go that way for him.
yeah. I still think I would have maybe put Darcy in either game 3 or 4.
Game four, yeah. By game four, I probably would have. Like, I don't think I would have for game three. I would have given him probably a chance at home to right the ship because he's been so
Yeah,
good at home as well. But
yeah.
by the time that we got to game four and like we're down 3-0 and he had let in you know,
Especially
three
because we're
plus goals
putting
in every game.
in like defenders that haven't been playing, which I love. You know, the two guys that we were missing, and I'm so happy we got him back in the nick of time because we had so many injuries. But like, it's frustrating because that turnover by Jensen and then that power play, you know, the penalty that he commits. I mean, he puts us down 2-1 early in the
It's
game. We
it's
fight
the difference
back,
in the
but it's
game is
hard.
Nick Jensen coming back into the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, we're all like, woohoo, Jensen and Sandine are back. And I think Sandine, you could see his impact. Like, he's so good. He's so good with his stick. He just, every time the Rangers are coming into the zone, he just like breaks it up immediately. But the fact that he's paired with then Nick Jensen, and I don't want to like put it on Jensen too much because it is hard when you come
And he
back
played
into,
a good game after that for the most part. Like it was a rough start,
yeah,
but he hadn't played in, 5 or 7 games or whatever it was. And so it's
and
it's
it's really hard when you
tough.
like they talked about that on the broadcast too, like even when you are coming back from an injury or anyone who's ever played hockey, like I'm not sure if you guys have ever played or not, we've never actually talked about that, but like if when you're coming back from an injury, it's, and like I said, they talked about it on the broadcast, like it's hard enough when you're trying to jump back into even a regular season game. They equated it to like it's like you're trying to jump onto a moving train, and then when you're coming back into not just a regular season game but now it's a Stanley Cup playoff game, they equated it to it's like you're trying to jump on a moving bullet train. Like you just, it's really really hard to do. So I don't want to be too hard on him, but yeah, that turnover, man, it was just
It was
brutal. Like I was like,
brutal.
are
It's
you
just so
kidding me? Like
early.
less
Like
than a minute
just
in.
oh, we'll talk to C4 about it, being there in that moment. I do want to go back and just go through some of the games real fast, and then we can have more of a discussion about some of these different topics. I do want to get Gil and Anna's thoughts on that as well. And then, so uh, I'm gonna just quickly go through the scoring in all the games, and I'll leave the last one for now. And then when C4 comes on, we'll talk to her about that game going to it. So we're gonna go back to Tuesday, and then we're gonna do Friday. So the Tuesday scoring, unfortunately, we scored first in this game. Connor McMichael, which I thought was a huge moment. I was like, oh, it's exactly what we need. And um, yeah, and then Vincent Trocheck scores like 2 minutes later, ties it. Zibanejad scores a power play goal. Again, their power play is just clicking, and that'll be the constant theme. But Dylan Strome comes back on a power play goal of his own and ties it. But in the second period, we give up another power play, which they score on. And then when we have the power play to try to even it up, they score shorthanded to like doubly make it bad, because it could have been 3-3 at that point going into the third, which I think would have been everything, right? But it wasn't. And Tom Wilson does get a power play goal in the third to give you that final hope kind of thing, but they just couldn't get over the hump there. And then well, I'll get all of you guys' thoughts on that game first, and then we can get into the game three. But I'll start off with you, Anna. What are some of your thoughts on that one?
I don't know. I feel like I have like a bag of emotions. Super proud for the team. I really wanted more. I felt like, but we came up, it was like too little too late moments. And then, you know, whether or not we talk about the officiating is another factor. Again, I will go back to what everybody was talking about before. I couldn't be prouder of this team, and everyone definitely counted them out and was like, no, they're not going to make it, and this and that. They did, and they tried, and God, the injuries and last night game. I know we'll talk about it later, but it was kind of rough because you're just like, who's hurt? Who's really hurt? But in this one, I don't know. Like, I was glad to see Tommy score, especially because there's so many Rangers fans that just absolutely hate him. So that was a little like haha moment. But again, we just couldn't. The better team won, unfortunately. It's just it sucks, and again, I want to say, oh, the officiating, whatever else, but bottom line,
We didn't convert on our power plays when they gave it to us.
Oh,
So,
I was gonna say, you're just the power play is like, I mean, it was like, oh my God, like
I
this
thought
is
we
just,
fixed it too over the last couple,
yeah. I
yeah.
had high hopes but again, like, if you're looking, for a positive and a negative, I guess, is like, these first year players, these rookies, whatever you want to call them, had this amazing experience, and some of them just shined, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next season.
Yeah.
We'll see, but again, like, it was a game that I was like, yay, we could have had it, but we didn't.
Yeah, I really thought we were gonna score on that power play to come back and make it 3-3.
Right.
Gail, what are some of your thoughts on that game?
Well, I mean, I was really, really optimistic. I thought maybe for once puck luck, the hockey gods, whatever you want to call it, were on our side when Carlson scored that goal to begin with. Shesterkin looked like, okay, he's got chinks in the armor. We can get past. He's not, Henrik Lundqvist 2.0. We can score him. He's not a machine. He's a man. Whatever narrative you want to throw in. And then it's just like everything went kind of bad after that. And I wish I had a better explanation, but the one thing you don't do in a Stanley Cup playoff game, they did not once, but twice in two different games. And as I said on the latest episode, when they did that, they did their best imitation of a balloon that just got hit with a needle. Everything just died.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't do that in a hockey game, let alone a playoff game. But when they did that, it was like they lost whatever momentum they were building up at that point, and they just weren't going to get it back. But yeah, to me, that was the key moment was giving up that shorthanded goal.
Yeah, it's kind of like the tipping point in the series because, I mean, because if you tie it up 1-1 going back to the DC, it's like a lot of momentum flooding back with you. But obviously going down 0-2 puts a lot of pressure on you to win game 3 or it's kind of sunk. So I felt like if it was 1-1, you're putting the pressure right back on the Rangers. And Jenaya, what were some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with everything that you guys have said. Like, I think the shorthanded goal, I mean, and not just one shorthanded goal in the series, but two. It's hard to win a playoff series when you're giving up shorthanded goals, and especially when you're a team that doesn't score all that much to begin with. It's like you just put yourself that extra goal behind the 8 ball. We really needed to have, like, in order to have a chance to win the series, we really needed to make our power plays count. I think that's kind of what we did, like, over the last quarter of the season to get ourselves into the playoffs. Is our power play was on fire. That's what got us here, right? Like, it was like over 30% for the last quarter of the season. So I think being a team that doesn't have all that much offensive firepower right now, at least not the top end offensive firepower, we really needed to make our power plays count. And so not only did they not make the power plays count, but they give up the shorthanded goals as well. Like, I think, didn't we have 2 power play goals in the series, and then we gave up 2 shorthanded goals, right? So it's literally like a wash. So That's not going to get it done. I was just disappointed with the shorthanded goals for sure. I mean, it happens, but to have it happen twice is kind of a little bit like maybe we're not paying enough attention out there, I feel like. We're just not having enough urgency on the power play at the very least. So but yeah, I mean, I think special teams obviously was what decided this series. If you look at the 5-on-5 play in the series, the Caps actually outplayed the Rangers at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Analytically, at least. Like if you look at all of the analytics, all of the metrics that are available to us as fans, the Caps outplayed the Rangers at even strength in this series. So it was definitely special teams that won the series for the Rangers, but I mean, good on them, right? Like that's fine. Like special teams are a part of a hockey game, and the Rangers are very, very good on their special teams. So I think they won the special teams battle by a wide enough margin that they deserve to win the series.
For sure. I do want to say that the Barkov line just scored for Florida. It puts them up 3-1 in their game. They're in the third period here. So looks like Tampa Bay is on life support here. They did a challenge of an earlier goal, which I thought wasn't necessarily a great challenge. They were saying it was a goaltender interference. They were saying it wasn't goaltender interference, that he was pushed into it, but then it was proven with the video replay that he was not pushed into the goalie, that he went in his own volition. And it kind of it went from being a 2-2 game in that situation to staying 2-1, and now it's 3-1. So it's going to get to become pretty difficult. We're going to bring in Scott from Firestone Rocks Drums here. Oh, he had to bring the broom.
Oh, I don't like this guy already. What the
Yeah, I
hell?
know. God, you're not gonna make friends.
My camera is gonna fade out.
We can't hear you, Scott. You're muted.
Maybe we don't need to hear him.
Probably the smartest thing he'll say this whole podcast.
Scott, you still have to unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Scott.
we can chirp too, fella.
Scott, you have to unmute.
I got a laugh out of him. All right, so he's a good dude.
Yeah, Scott, you have to click the unmute.
You gotta.
The mic button, buddy.
You're I've not heard you.
There you go.
You're good. You're good.
So I was saying, what I was saying was that guess who gave me the idea to actually do that?
Oh no, who?
Tina.
Oh, Tina, you've traded her. What? No, I can't believe.
Tina asked me, she said, are you bringing the broom? And then I wasn't even thinking of it because, Robbie, the exchanges we have I seemed like that type of person that
you have not. So
right?
that's why I invited you on. That's why I was like, this is a way to start here. But people that don't know, Tina is a big fan of the show. She's also one of Scott's mods on his channel, and she's a VIP over here.
I thought it'd be fun. Just thought it'd be a little fun.
Yeah,
no, I'm not like that at all. I'm not an asshole fan.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm not like that.
But it was funny because he has a lot of red emotes, so I kept on trolling him with his own pictures all week long, and so he had to change all of his emotes to, instead of red sirens, to blue ones. So I thought I had trolled him so hard, which I thought was pretty funny. So. So it's been a good back and forth. But Scott, we were talking about game 2 and about how the power play was such a pivotal part of that. What were some of your thoughts on game 2?
Well, wait, I just need to know which was the game that I didn't really get to pay attention to, because that might have been the game. Was it game 2? Was it on Tuesday?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so I really didn't get to really watch that game the way I would want to watch the game, because I was streaming, I was celebrating. We have a celebration stream, and
that's right. You were actually live streaming. He was drumming, and then he had it on in the background, and then would do like a goal horn thing whenever.
Right, when the Rangers score, I'd play a goal. Yeah, but I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't get to see the dirty play. I know there was a dirty play in there, right? Ranky, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised about that either.
He's a jerk.
I mean, he
you have to. I mean,
he's a fucking asshole. Sorry.
Seriously, I
I've seen it. I know you're
on
right.
here, but I will say, like, I'm a diehard Tom Wilson fan, so I'll come to his defense when it's clean and whatever else. But this kid is to me not what hockey is about. And when you play 17 games and you have 2 or 3 ejections and 5 fights and whatever else, you're in it for the wrong reason. And that's a disappointment, because I know they put a lot, like his size and this and that.
He didn't
Right.
seem to play a lot in the fourth game. I
Like
maybe
4 minutes or something,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I
like,
don't think he's played a lot in many of the games. No, I don't think he's.
And
Really,
but
Yeah.
Anna, you mentioned Tom Wilson too, and this is what I'm trying to tell like all of these Rangers fans. Tom Wilson, you can say whatever you want about Tom Wilson. If Tom Wilson makes a dirty hit, guess what he does? He answers the bell. He
Yeah.
fights. He
Fights
accepts
for
the
him.
fight.
well, and he tried.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
he
know. That's what I'm
challenged
getting
him.
at.
As
That's what I'm
that-
getting at. Like Dylan
Yeah.
McElrath tried to fight him. Tom
Yep.
Wilson tried to fight him. He turned both of them down. The guy is a. I probably
Yeah,
can't
that,
use the
I
word
feel
I
like
want
there
to
is
use
a
on
code
here.
there. Don't you
He's a
agree?
pussy.
You
Go
agree,
ahead.
Scott, right? Like even I understand that you don't fight because it won't behoove you in the score, but there's a code that when when you do a hit and you own up for it and you're known as a fighter,
Yeah.
And
It
I want to
takes a
say one more
fight.
thing. I want to say one more thing because I was telling this to a Rangers fan too. A Rangers fan was trying to tell me, well, he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight
Yeah, he
when we're
does.
up.
that's not.
No, listen, he doesn't want to fight when we're up in the game, this Rangers fan tells me. And I said, okay, Matt Rempe is a fourth line plug who plays 5 minutes a night. He can barely skate. Tom Wilson is a top line forward. He's the Caps' leading scorer in the series. No coach alive, and certainly not Peter Laviolette, is going to tell Matt Rempe, please don't take Tom Wilson off the ice for 5 minutes in a game that the Caps are trailing. Of course you want to get Tom Wilson off the ice for 5 minutes in a game that the Caps are trailing. Like,
Yep.
don't give me that. The kid didn't fight because he's a pussy. That's it.
Yep.
Sorry.
I agree. I hate that word, but that's the only way to describe
It's the only
it.
word. I don't like the word either, but it's the only word.
100%. So
I don't know, man. I mean, I hope that that they're just being smarter. That or they're being told like
He actually was doing too many fights, and now he actually has to get a signal from his coach to be allowed to fight. That I have read that like
Oh, really?
he's on a leash and like he has to get the nod from the coach to be able to
but
do
how,
it.
how do you play
Just so
seven-
I just want everybody to know, like just so you know, it's my background in sports. Rangers, like are my weakest, like hockey and Rangers, and it's just my weakest area. Like I'm stronger with basketball, stronger with baseball. So sometimes you guys might talk about some things that I might not be too certain of who or what. So just so you know. So I'm like
absolutely respect that.
yeah, just want to put that out there.
For
the
sure.
the fact that you're even on this show, I cheers to you because I think that's awesome because we have all these negative things to say about your team. However, you're here, but it's not, it's not like, but we don't hate the fans. It's like,
But some fans you do. Some fans I hate.
Some fans
Yeah, right.
Even at a Rush concert, I hated a fan that wanted to get in a fight with me, like as YYZ is starting because I'm in his seat or he was in my seat, whatever it was. But it's just like, are you kidding me?
Right.
It's like we're here to have fun, man. So.
But I just think that this is not Remke is not the future of hockey. He's not the future of NHL, and I really hope that I think Laviolette knows enough to rein him in. But I just think that man, he has just got an ego, and he's a little too much. When you have that many ejections and you've only played 17 games.
I started following at the end of the year, right? And that's when I learned about the kid.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh wow, I was like thinking, wow, this guy's like Aaron Judge on ice, like it was just like, wow. And but then I started learning more and seeing like his tactics and not being as impressed or excited about his style of play. I mean, yeah, I guess he could be intimidating and kind of fun to watch, but not when you're outright just being a brute, and that's what I've seen. I mean, that's from somebody, like I said, who doesn't like watch it all year long and know, every little in and out of everything, like the way I know the Yankees. But just a little bit that I've seen, I would agree with you. He seems obnoxious. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As like an obnoxious.
He needs to be humbled.
Yeah.
And you would get humbled if you would drop the fucking gloves, man.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
What's crazy is he did against, I think it was Dylan McElrath in the minors. I'm pretty
and he got his ass beat. And the last fight, that's why he wanted no part of McElrath. He's like, no, I remember you from the minor leagues. I don't want any part of this. But no, he had
we never know any of this.
Didn't he play? Didn't he fight against Reeves?
Yeah, he
I
fought
don't
Reeves,
know.
and then he fought Olivier too on Columbus, and he ended up with 2 black eyes. Like, he's
Yeah.
not a very good fighter. He's just tall. But it's like, and I will say, like, I love the big hits. I love the fights. Like, I love that about hockey. I'm not saying like don't do it. I'm just saying if you're gonna make a cheap shot, you have to answer for it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Because everybody else in the entire league does, and it's not like
Oh,
Caps fans are the first team to be calling out Matt Rempe either, and he's only played, like Anna said, 17 games. Like,
Yeah.
there's already been multiple people being like, "Hey, dude,
I
you make a dirty
predict
hit, you got to drop the glove." That's how it works. Like,
this next series he's gonna be humbled.
I also feel that I feel it's like very true, like in life and sports, whatever. Like there's karma, like it will come back, you know, like it will.
100%.
Yeah. So
Exactly how hockey works.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that Florida just scored their 4th goal. They charged down the ice. Good give and
Tampa's not
go.
coming back from that.
And yeah,
No.
this is kind of
well,
done.
I don't
I'm
know,
happy.
Gil,
I'm
do you
actually
recall a
happy about
couple
that.
weeks ago?
I'm happy about that because I'm kind of hoping that the Rangers wind up playing Florida. And
They can't. It's a separate
In the
bracket.
in the
Oh, they
conference
are?
final.
Well, you can play them in the conference final.
Oh, I didn't know
You
that.
you have
See,
to
that's
play.
how little I know my
Yeah,
hockey.
So
you
they
have to
gotta
play
they're
go.
gonna get probably
They would have to
Carolina
go
in the
through
next
another
round.
round.
Carolina.
Yeah, it's the winner of the Carolina Islanders series, so it's likely Carolina.
Wait, so wouldn't it be the semifinal? Wouldn't that be the meet?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Final
That's
Four.
when they would meet.
So-
Final Four. Yeah.
They would
I'm
have to beat them.
hoping. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they meet there, and I could get a playoff ticket.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Oh,
yeah.
That would be good for a
sweet.
conference final. Yeah,
Nice.
they'd have to beat Boston though, which is
Yeah.
not an easy out, obviously. But
I
it was
picked
interesting.
Florida to win the cup, so I'm extremely happy with
Oh my
this.
God. I did too.
I bet I
up.
not
Oh
only
my-
I picked it in my bracket, but I
Air
bet on
fi-
it at the beginning of the
yes.
season.
I told
I
you
got
that
great
a couple
odds.
weeks ago, and what did Gil say? Gil, you
Very
were like,
nice.
no, it's gonna be at the Avalanche. And I said, I don't know. I think it's gonna be Florida.
Well, Florida
Hey, that's
versus
Gil. That's what
Florida-
I have my final as. Florida, Colorado.
Yeah.
That's my final.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
it's interesting because Florida played against in the finals last year, but they also in the semifinals played against Carolina. So there was an opportunity for those rematch to
Oh,
possibly
I thought you were gonna talk about the Jets. No.
but the Jets are in a worse
Oh my
situation.
God.
But also, like, I'm surprised at the Stars Vegas series. I didn't expect. I thought Dallas would do better against them. That's
me.
But they play tonight though, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That
they
game's coming
do.
up right
Okay.
after this.
Or right
Florida.
That's
now?
on after this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one after Tampa Bay, Florida. So we'll be
This
watching.
this is going to sound weird. This kind of one topic before, but we were talking about we're kind of ragging on Rempe. If I'm a Ranger fan, I would be over the moon. I wouldn't be paying any attention to him because injuries aside, he didn't make any damn bit of difference. You know, the guy I'd be really up in the air about and really happy about? Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah.
You know how many Rangers fans I saw on Twitter ragging on him, demanding he be traded, gotten rid of?
Right.
He's their best
This
player
guy-
of the series.
Well, yeah, but
I think so.
this guy has done nothing but work hard and do what he's supposed to do and made the most of this opportunity. And all season long, his own fans were like, "Oh, he sucks.
Shitting
He's
all
no
over
good."
him.
Crapping all over him. And
Yep.
and he's one of these guys you need in the playoffs.
Right.
And he proved why.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I have respect for players that, show their skill and play hockey how they're supposed to, smart hockey, not dirty. And when you see like, oh my God, I can't even say I like Panarin, but you know what? Throughout the season, I will say,
He's had an incredible season. I mean, one of the best in
Yeah.
Rangers history.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, the skill is there. It's,
And one of my favorite man
Yeah.
is Zibanejad, man. I just always feel like that guy's like in the middle of everything everywhere. Like he's just
Yeah.
he's
He's kind
one
of like
my
a glue
favorites.
character. You need those. Kind of.
I like
Uh,
Zibanejad too. I like
Yeah.
him.
It kind of
Ottawa's
like Chris
crazy to
Sutton,
trade him.
just sort of like crazy, big guy back in the day. Just you need that sort of glue character guy on your team.
And that's the thing too. The way they all fit together. Every team has that. Every sport has that. Like the way they all
Yeah.
feed off each other and just
Mhm.
like the energy. It's just the whole.
Yeah, they had good
Once the
chemistry in
chemistry
all
gets
different.
together.
Well, I love their ability to go into different defensive sets and know what that each one of them is doing and have
Yeah.
more plays drawn. I mean, I know that we have a new coach, so it's going to take time to install a full system. He's only had one season with them. Laviolette, even though this is his first season with the Rangers, he's taken so many teams to the playoffs, right? Over
Yeah,
all the different seasons, right? And so he understands how to instill a system much faster than a new coach would, right?
Right.
And he also had an older team that would be willing to buy into it, where we're a much younger team. Why I don't think we worked out with them the year before is because he needed to play these young guys, and he's not good at developing young talent. He's good
Right.
at like managing, veterans, right? That's like his strong suit, which is your team is a team full of veterans with a couple of young guys thrown in there, but not really. It's not really, that's not the game that you have. So
I think the Rangers are one of the oldest teams in the league now, I
yeah,
believe.
I would believe that just based
I
on me
think so
watching
too.
their game. They're slow and
I'm looking
methodical,
at
but
the
what
ages right now. Wait, let's see. Age. I got age. I got birth dates, not ages. Yeah.
the yeah, it was for me, it was just they installed such a great defensive set where they would just stifle us with this one, four box, moving around and just I thought that their power play or penalty kill was just dynamite, just
Yeah.
their ability to get in the
Well,
lane.
so consistent. Oh my God. It was like we had no chance.
They knew what we were going to do before we did
Yeah.
it, right? And
Yeah.
so like they were able to intercept so many of our passes over the course
Yeah.
of
It
the
was
game.
very frustrating to watch that power play. My God.
No, they're. I listen, and again, again, I'm a fan that like really just starts tuning in the end of the year into the playoffs. That's my, for the last 20, 30 years. That's what I've been doing. I don't watch the whole season. That's why I'm at hockey. But I could just tell you that like this team compared to all of like the teams I've been seeing over the last 10, 15 years is just like way better. They're way more exciting and just they're executing, they work together, they're just, they're a lot of fun to watch. So
Well, and I think even as Caps fans, we can say, we can humble ourselves and say the better team won.
Oh yeah.
100%. There is no, there's no challenge. There's no like, oh fuck the ringer. Are we to be frustrated with calls? Of course, and players, of course.
We were
And
getting
that's just how
calls
it goes.
too. Like we
think
just
the
weren't even
fact that
converting.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like
Yeah.
we had a ton of opportunities and it didn't happen. And then of course we could always say like we had
Well,
injuries, we had this, we had that, whatever
I
else.
can't. But TJ Oshie played with a broken hand.
yeah,
Which I
you
had
found that out. Yeah, you
that to me
found it out.
blows my mind.
Well, I heard you guys talking earlier, and I was thinking about the things that you guys were saying, and Robbie will tell you like when he was telling me things, and like the way I would respond back, like I responded back like I was almost like one of you guys, like I really understand, like so, like for instance, the fact that you made the playoffs, like I said, I followed at the end of the year,
Yeah.
and I knew that the Caps were like you had to win like those last two games, and they won. And I also know that Tina and Robbie are following too. And, so that, that's a big deal. Like I could totally relate to that. If it was the Rangers too, I'd be like, yeah, we're in, that's it. You just got to get in, and then there's a hope and you never know what's going to happen. And that's what I was telling Robbie. Like Robbie's like, and I was like, yo, the game's got to be played. Like it's not like the Rangers. Okay, yeah, the Rangers on paper, they might be better, or they won the President's Cup, whatever. They still got to win 4 games. But bottom line, and you never know what's going to happen. And the Caps put up a really good fight, and it wasn't like they, yeah, okay, yes, I'm sorry the Caps couldn't pull one out, but they definitely put up a good fight, and it wasn't a runaway. No game was a pure runaway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and
for close games, it's like Gil said, it's like even if we were going to lose 4 straight, but we just wanted them to be close games, that's what we got. Like they were in every game. Game 1, it was like they stuck right with the Rangers for 58 minutes of that game. It was like a 2-minute meltdown that cost them the game.
Yes, that was crazy.
Right?
Yeah,
Rangers scored 3 goals and I think it was like 2 minutes and 6 seconds. But other than that, they stuck with them for 58 minutes.
Well, I mean,
game 2, 1-goal game again.
Yeah, and then I want to talk about game 3 for a second. Was John Carlson scored first again, just like in the previous game we scored first, and then just right away, like 30 seconds later, like it didn't even get to really enjoy it. Chris Kreider scores, ties it up. I left the room for one moment. I walked back, it was already tied, and then went to tell Zach that they tied it, and I walked back, and they had already been down 2-1. Like, it happened that fast. It was 3 minutes. It went from 1 goal up to 2 goal, to now 1 goal down, and just sucked all the momentum, especially in a home game.
You guys were talking about that before, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the second period, the Trocheck gets that goal that makes it 3-1, which seems almost insurmountable with how good the goalie was going. And then in the fourth game, I'm going to bring C4 on now because I see that she's been waiting in the thing. She did get to go to this game as well, and so Sean, feel free to turn on your camera and mic. But I'll go through the scoring first, but then I want to get her thoughts going to this game because it's the deciding game.
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay.
I gotta fix a setting on my.
Cool. Well, I'll go through the scoring while you figure that out, and then
No, I got it. Go ahead. I got.
Capo Caco scored 1 minute in off of a horrible turnover by Jensen. We sort of talked about this a little bit earlier. We were able to get it back though with Martin Favari scoring at 14:54. A beautiful goal. Just love to see the young guy, step up and second goal of the playoffs. He was one of our best players, I think, in the playoffs. Alexi Protas gets his second assist, and Dylan Strom gets his first assist. Ties at 1-1. Huge goal, to try to get back into this. But unfortunately, we give up a power play at the very end of the period, and Vincent Trocheck scores his third of the series, assist by Zibanejad. Artemi Panarin makes it 2-1. We do get it back, though. Henrik Lapierre and they played the best period of hockey I think that they played the whole entire series.
Agree.
Dominant
Yep,
period.
100%.
And Henrik Lapierre scores his first goal of the playoffs. Assist by Alexiev, his first assist. 2-2. You're feeling good going into the third. But you got to make a big save, and Jenaya talked about it earlier. Unfortunately, we gave up a stupid penalty again, and Artemi Panarin shoots a body shot, which I think you're right, Jenaya. He should have stopped. Didn't. It's his second goal of the series. Zibanejad's sixth assist already. Adam Fox second assist makes it 3-2, and it's kind of almost insurmountable at that point. But they do get one. That's a power play empty net goal at 19:09 because we take another stupid penalty, but we have to pull our goal. Still try to do something. At some
I think
point.
that last one was Sandine. That was, oh man.
Yes.
Even the Rangers fans that were around, I was literally surrounded by Rangers fans. It was like it was like a row of Rangers fans, Marcus, me, and then the rest of the row was Rangers fans. And then in front of us, there were like 4 Caps fans and everybody else was Rangers fans. Like the entire section was.
You were up in 400?
I was in 423 all the way at the very top, like against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still in the building. It's still awesome.
It's still in the building.
Every seat's great. A good seat in that house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really it is. Well, it's funny because and the reason there's so many freaking Rangers fans coming down here is because it's actually cheaper for them to get a hotel, fly, drive, whatever.
It all adds up to the same thing.
I was talking to a girl in the bathroom. She got 300-400 levels tickets, drove down from Brooklyn, and a hotel for less than it would have cost for one ticket to go to Madison Square Garden. Yeah. Just the ticket, it was cheaper to do all that.
MSG prices are like almost in line with the Leafs, aren't they? I think.
Yeah,
they're insane.
Yeah. I was lucky the one time I got taken. So I was like, I'll go to a game at MSG if I'm not paying for it. So
yeah.
I got that twice. I got once for the Rangers, once for the Knicks.
I'd like to go just to say I went.
It's an incredible experience. But it's funny though, like, so I loved it. I think it's one of the coolest arenas I've ever been to. I don't feel it's very different than Capital One Arena though. So it's like, it's basically they modeled Cap One after it. And so they did all the same things. It seemed a little dimmer, but I think on purpose, it feels more like a theater versus, Cap One feels more like an
Broadway, baby.
Like
I
was going to say, just what I mean, it's like being like in Yankee Stadium, the history. Place like that, you can feel the history.
Mm-hmm. I literally
all the greats that were there.
Quick
before.
Story: when I had gone to Robbie, I went to a game down there, 2019. We went to Madison Square Garden. just for like a regular season game between the Caps and the Rangers. And we're going up the like escalators or whatever in the building. It was on my bucket list to go to Madison Square Garden and see the Caps play there. So we're going up the like escalators before the game. And to Gil's point, what he just said, I literally got tears in my eyes, like going up the escalators and just looking at all the, like, it's just so cool. It's iconic. Amazing place to be.
It was cool. Yeah, my cousin owns a box down below. So they have boxes that are down below, like in the like 100 sections, and like so it's just the seats. They call it the box, but it's just like seats down the 100. But like holy moly, like that view was incredible. We lost, but I was like, I don't even care. It was still a fun experience, and it was cool to go and obviously not have to pay an arm and a leg to get down there because I would never be able to afford that. But I'm jealous because he gets tickets to all of the Knicks, all the Rangers, all of them. Like he
That's
has
crazy.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of him. I haven't even messaged him yet. I need to congratulate him. But it's an incredible experience to go. But I definitely I really highly recommend Capital One Arena. And I feel I'm just so thankful this season. There was talk, obviously, that they were going to move to Virginia. And I'm so happy that they signed a 50-year lease to stay there because there's nothing wrong with it. And if you're going to get $50 million to make it even better, then just do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do you need to like build something new? And like, because it would have moved, so you don't know this guy, but it would have moved like 4 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it would have doubled the people from Maryland's commute to it. And even a lot of people in Virginia would have taken longer because of the way the
traffic and the metro is not very convenient to that place.
So this place would be where we currently are is in the dead center. So you can come from the metro from any direction into the city. It's in the heart of the city, the way that it should be versus, like out in the outskirts in Virginia. Right. It would have been a mile away.
It's like going
it's like FedEx Field.
No, I got the perfect example. It's like going to an Island game.
Right. Yeah. Or even like Meadowlands, like in New Jersey, like where it's not city,
okay.
Yeah. So it's just I'm happy that they didn't go that route. I didn't try to bring a lot of airplay to it this year, but I think that's important to it was a big topic, and they claimed that it was going to happen. And I'm super happy that it didn't because I think
plus you build that big fancy facility and you're like, oh, this will make all the free agents want to come here, and that's kind of the thought process, right? But the Blue Jays just did that with Ohtani and that didn't work out, so it doesn't always work.
There you go.
Dang. Yes.
I'm just happy with we've got so many young guys in the pipeline, and so this experience, for this team, and I'm happy. For some reason, I thought this was Charlie's last year under contract. We had him for one more year. That was an amazing contract that signed. I thought it was a 2-year deal. I saw just today that it was a 3-year deal. I was like, wait, what? For 1.1 million each year for 3 years, it was a steal looking back on it.
It's like the best bargain in the league almost right now.
Yeah, it's like he's the best bargain goalie deal and maybe the worst one. So combined, they average out to be value. But it's pretty
it's like we're still not paying a lot for the tandem, right? Just don't look at which one of them makes what, and it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Exactly. They make the same.
But I'm under the hope.
Just ignore that little pile of money over in the corner.
Do any of us Caps fans think that he can come back though? Darcy Kemper can have an off season and make it up, or do you think once you're done, you're done?
I'm probably alone in all this, but I think he can.
I think he deserves another chance.
Who are you talking about?
Darcy Kemper, our starting goalie.
Darcy Kemper, the other goalie.
We shelved.
I think given the opportunity and the right support, he can do a lot better than he did this year. I don't know if he'll be a starter ever again, but I think he will do a lot better.
Wasn't he a backup guy that you guys moved into the starting role or something?
The one that used to off for 4 games was the backup who became the starter. The guy who was supposed to be the starter was the guy who won a cup for them, or won a cup previous.
Colorado.
Brought him over from Colorado. It was supposed to be this guy. We pay $8 million, 5 years each. $8 million for each year for 5 years, and he's kind of backslid Yeah, for
Oh.
Marcus, yeah.
massively.
5 million is not that bad.
Oh, 5 million?
I was
Oh,
gonna
fine.
say,
well,
I was
still-
gonna
still a
say,
lot of money.
other way around.
Okay,
That sounds like
you know
a
what?
Yankee move
it was
right
John
there.
Carlson's contract that it was 8 million. But I was
Yeah,
getting
John
confused.
Carlson's 8
Yeah,
million.
because I wanted to
Although,
talk about
you know
that.
what? The way he's played the last couple of years, he's been worth that money. So
John Carlson's still worth that money,
So
honestly.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so I'm happy that
He
the two of
proved
you
it.
guys say that because I had debates already today about it. It's like he's the worst. I'm like, he ate up all your minutes.
He is
So
not
why
the
we lost this
worst.
game?
No.
Like, how are
He's
we?
We saw
Exhausted
what
is what he
happens.
is.
We saw what happened last season when you take him off of this team. It is ugly.
Yeah.
Ugly.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
bless you.
God
Bless
bless
you.
you.
So,
And I don't want to hear anybody shitting on him for whatever
No.
he did or didn't do in like a game 4 when he's playing fucking, 32 minutes a night of a
man's
60-minute
exhausted.
game. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what I think we did. Is I unfortunately think we wore him out. I think we wore Charlie Lindgren out. We did such a
Ovi
huge
got
job.
worn out.
Obi
Yeah.
got worn out. I'm still wondering if he's hurt. What
He's got to be injured.
Gotta be.
Nothing's
Gotta
come out
be.
yet.
He
though,
was
which is
just, I
surprising.
mean, when his line was on the ice, it was like, I was like, why are you putting him on the ice? All he's doing is standing there. What's the point?
Yeah.
He's not going to shoot. He's not going to move. Why are you sit him down, let him rest for the rest of the game? The game's,
And-
it's not that big a deal. Sit him down.
and
Yep.
he did like play a lot less in game 4, but he's
but
always a
still.
guy who like he always at the end of every playoff series, even like when he took the you remember when he took the knee hit from Nazem Kadri in the playoffs?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
even after that one, and we all knew he was injured after that, he's still the guy who's like, no, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. Like he's never gonna tell
Yeah.
you that he's injured. But something that I noticed, I talked about it on my podcast, is like before the first game of the regular season, he had these cupping therapy marks on the back of his neck and shoulders.
Mhm.
And they were there for like the first half of the season when he could not shoot the puck at all. Like it was very evident that he could not shoot the puck. He didn't even want to shoot it.
Yeah.
The last half of the season, those marks disappear. All of a sudden, he can shoot the puck again, and he goes on a
Right.
complete tear and gets us into the playoffs. Like he's scoring like he's 25 years old again. First game of the playoffs arrives, and he skates up for warmups, and I see these cupping marks are back on his neck and shoulders again, and I'm like, fuck. It's gonna be a problem again. And sure enough, it looked like he couldn't shoot the puck, or like it just seemed like it was like he was physically impaired. It
He
seemed.
was. Yeah,
from
I was
shooting the
watching
puck.
him last night, and even from way up in the nosebleeds, you could see he just was not
Yeah.
himself.
And he's not a guy who you're ever going to be like, oh my God, Ovi, you have to shoot the puck. Like he always shoots the puck.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when he's not shooting, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was
I've never
times
seen
there were
this.
times when they got the puck, he had the open shot, he played with it a minute and passed it off.
Yeah.
He did not shoot the puck. There were opportunities last night that he had to shoot the puck and didn't. So
Yeah.
I was like,
Something's
we were
wrong.
good. It was frustrating to
That
watch
was just like
him,
the first
but
half of the regular season too. It's like he's wide
Mhm.
open in front. He's got a wide open shot and he's still trying to pass it to somebody back door. Like he
Yep.
couldn't get any oomph on his shot for whatever reason.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
but I think injuries, and then it was also just I feel like Robbie just touched on, we exerted ourselves so much down the stretch just to get into the playoffs that
Yeah.
to me it just looked like they had nothing left. Like
They were just so tired. They were so
exhausted.
done. I just hope
Chucky
that
especially, like he played, what did Chucky play, like 19 of the last 21 games or something,
Yeah, something
including
like that.
back-to-backs, right? Like he was just exhausted, you could tell.
yeah, I just hope the guys going back down to Hershey are good for Wednesday night because I'll be at that game.
Yeah, so I C4, I want you to come back on this show throughout the playoffs and give me a Hershey Bears report,
I
and
can do that.
they're the defending champions. The fact that
I
our
actually
team-
subscribed to the AHL TV, so the games I don't get to, I can watch.
yeah,
Oh,
that'd be
nice.
awesome to have you on, and you can have you
So
and talk
that's the
about
goal anyway.
playoffs. going
Miroshnichenko
forward.
gonna go play for them? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Miro's
was
gone
one of the-
back down. LaPierre's gone back down. Iorio, hopefully he'll be able to play, has gone back down.
Big Mac.
Mekarath has
Big
gone
Mac,
back
yeah.
down.
I think Scarbosa, they can't send him
no,
back,
he's
right?
played
too
Because
many
he wasn't
games.
on the AHL roster at the trade deadline or whatever it was. So
Something
Yeah.
like that. There's one. I think there's one. I thought there was one more.
Gibson.
Gibson. Thank you.
So that's a lot of players that can get more experience down at the AHL. So Scott, if you might not know, last year our minor league team, the Hershey Bears, won the championship in the AHL. They've actually won more championships, I believe, than any other team.
They have won
AHL?
12.
The
which is
AHL
more.
is the minor league.
So yeah, I'm familiar with that a little bit because when I was in Fort Myers, we had the Everblade, the Everblade
Oh, yeah.
Games
Yep.
or something. Yeah.
Florida
Yeah, so
Everblades.
Hershey's
I
the
went to a
farm
couple
team for the
games.
Capitals.
Yeah, so they're the farm.
So
Gotcha.
All of
Gotcha.
our teams where the young players, they get used to the game and then they come up through the system and then they play up and
Right.
then they also
Right.
could be sent back down. So we did a
Right.
lot of moving players around towards the end of the season to get as many people eligible for both playoffs as possible in case
Right.
the likelihood was we weren't going to make the playoffs, but
Oh,
we
I
wanted
see what
the
you're saying.
ability.
Right.
And we
Right.
kind of got lucky in the fact that it's staggered, that the first week of the NHL playoffs is before the AHL playoffs.
Uh-huh.
So they were able to play up and then go back
well,
to the
we're
Hershey.
lucky that Hershey had a bye week.
Yeah, we had a bye week. That's true. We were so good that we didn't have to play the first week.
That's
That
good.
worked out,
All right.
Yeah, they earned that bye week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hershey's first game is Wednesday. So I'll be at that game.
They're the 1 seed, right? Of the whole
Um,
thing?
Yes.
They got a bye
Yeah,
week.
they have
One,
12
two.
Calder Cups,
Yeah,
which is more than anybody in the league.
yeah.
Well, good luck. Good luck to
So.
the Hershey team.
Yes.
They're the Hershey Bears. So
Hershey Bears.
yeah,
Love
Hershey
it.
Bears.
yeah.
I like
Robbie,
watching it
hate-
because I like watching the young guys, right? Like those guys are all going to be future Capitals, so
Yeah,
that's
they
why I
are.
like
Mhm.
watching it.
Yeah.
Well, baby Caps right now gonna kick ass later.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
let
they
Anna
are.
go because I know that she is
Oh
in
my
a
God.
very hot house. And I
I'm
really
so
appreciate
sorry.
it.
So our of all days, air conditioning, nothing today.
Oh
It
no.
blew
Oh,
out.
wow.
We thought we could fix
Oh.
it. So of course, today in Centerville was 92. And
It's
I
gonna be
got
just
home
as
and my
warm
house
tomorrow,
was
I think.
82, and I'm like, oh my God. So I apologize for like
No,
the
you're fine.
shine.
Yeah,
It's
no,
there.
so,
I
But
really
yeah, I'm like,
appreciate
oh
you
my
for being a
God,
part
he's
of
like,
this, Anna, this whole year. It's been a lot of fun. So,
it has, and you guys are amazing. I love everything. Gail, I'll hear you. We'll talk this weekend for sure. I'll figure out a time, hopefully, to get on for the last episode. Have a great, I don't know, this isn't your last. I was gonna say Robbie is your last one, but it's
yeah,
not.
well, no, Gil and I think C4 are going to still talk a little, play
Yeah.
hockey. I may even have Scott give a report for the Rangers as well.
There you go.
Sure.
Well, Scott, it was great to see you. Jenaya, always
Yes.
fantastic.
Great
See
to
You as
meet
well.
guys.
you, Gil. I will
Yeah.
talk to you very, very soon. Take care,
Yes,
guys.
thank you for
All right,
covering.
take
with us.
care,
Got it
Anna.
fixed.
Night.
Have a good night, Anna.
Night, Anna.
Good
I
night.
hope your things get cooled off quick.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
All right, so we've got Arun and Champ coming
Yeah.
on in a few minutes as well. That's the dog that you're seeing on
That's
screen.
cute.
People are like, what
So-
is this dog? It's his background.
Can I just make a quick comment about Rempy?
Yes.
I posted it in the chat, but so there was this guy sitting in front of us.
I saw
Oh no,
it. I
no,
saw
there was
your
this card.
comment.
The guy. Oh no, no, no. There was
That's
this
great.
one point. There was this one point when they started going Rampy, Rampy, and so every time in between Rampy, I would yell, Rampy, Rampy. They're laughing. I was like, hey, I'm here to get myself. And then I said, why? Why do you have his jersey? And he's like, well, I know he's a blooming asshole, but he's our blooming asshole. Okay. At least you're aware.
Right. That's funny, man.
They even
Yeah.
sell
That-
Rempy jerseys, or you had to tape that on there?
No, he actually had a Rempy jersey. It was the NYR jersey, like their third jersey.
That's
Yeah.
such a typical New York answer. That's like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. My late husband's family is all from New York, so
Yeah, my parents are also from New York, so I know how it is.
I read a book. It was about Yankee fans, but basically the book was entitled "Why Yankee Fans Are Assholes." Like that. It was a legitimate book, and I read through it, and I found it very interesting to think how certain people think this and certain people think that, like all these different perceptions that people have because of Yankee fans, or not just that, but also based on the Yankee fan. There are different types of Yankee fans. Like, where do you fit in how people perceive you. So
Yeah.
I think that applies to all New York fans. I think all New York
Yeah.
fans.
Well, the Ranger fans around us for the most part were pretty cool. So,
Yeah,
they were legit. They were legit cheering on their team. They knew the game. They were able to carry on intelligent discussion, conversation. I mean, Marcus was talking to the guy on the other side the whole game. They were talking back and forth about everything. And then the guy on the other side of me, he and I were talking some. So
as long as there's no
I appreciate that and I respect that. It's like,
negativity,
yeah.
And
I
Rangers
think
fans as a whole, I really don't have any problem with. Like, I've always found
No.
them to be like they're just good fans. Like, I have a few Rangers fans listen to my
That's good to hear.
podcast, and they are always chiming in too. And they know hockey, which I appreciate. Like, it's not
Right.
like you're
Yeah.
talking to a Carolina Hurricanes fan, right? Like
Right.
they
Right.
actually know what's going on, and it's
Right.
not like every.
I think there's good fans and bad fans of every fan base. So, like, I heard that some Caps fans were saying disgusting things about 9/11 to Rangers fans
Oh
during the
yeah.
game. And I'm like, I couldn't believe that. I was like, first of all, 9/11 happened to
Crazy.
both of us. They attacked DC too. Like, why would that even be a thing? Like, what are you
Right?
doing? Like, I don't like beyond.
That's not a chirp. Like,
Yeah,
how?
like,
Like,
what are you
Embarrassing.
doing?
It was.
I
That's
had
disgusting.
just told another Rangers fan that I'm like, at least we don't do that shit. And then the next game we
Next
did
thing.
that. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just was talking about how we don't do that. Like, I was like,
And I feel
fuck.
like most Caps fans, if they heard that, they would put a stop to it. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
pretty
no.
gross.
Every
Yeah.
Caps fan that heard about this was like disgusted and mortified. But like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
that's still, I'm like, the fact that just shows there's assholes in every fan base. Like, like,
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
It's
just wild to me. I mean, and I just read constantly about people who just want to give up on this team or like want to trade away Ovechkin, get something for him at the very end, or like, yeah, I'm just like, are you kidding me? How do you
I know.
not
Well,
want him to break the record as a Capital? Like,
so
give up the next 2 seasons. It doesn't matter. Just have him win. Try to
It's
win it all
because
this year.
and last
people
night
are spoiled. That's
I
what
was
it comes
getting-
down to.
Marcus
People
and I
are
were
spoiled.
yeah, well, Marcus and I were getting supremely upset last night, and he was actually even more upset than I was.
I'm sorry.
People were actually.
Tina wants to see the broom, everybody.
Oh,
I'm
good
sorry.
grief.
The broom, so.
People, Caps fans, when it went, what was it, to 3? Yeah,
3-1.
when Panarin
3-1.
scored that power play goal, Caps fans started leaving. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you could see them leaving in droves. By the time the game was over,
The only thing I can think of is
all
there
you
was a
could
Sunday
see was
night, it
blue and
super
white
late
down,
if
and it
people
was
Yeah.
mostly the lower. To be fair, it was mostly the lower bowl, which is those aren't, as far as I'm
Right,
concerned.
I think those are mostly business people that don't really care that much, that have extra
Right.
money and
But
like,
still,
yeah.
but I also know a lot of them are real fans too. But to see them, I mean, to see them leaving in droves, I mean, I was like, what are you doing? You should be proud of this team. They weren't
That's what I was just gonna say
to be here.
Yeah, to me, it's like, even if they were getting swept, if I was in that arena, I would be staying to the very end and giving them a standing ovation at the end of it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and a lot did.
Absolutely, I did. And even the Rangers fans were like, respect. You guys played hard. You did the job. You did what nobody thought you were going to be able to do. We're proud of you guys too. I mean, at least the ones around us. I can't speak for the rest of it. But, it's like, respect, people. Respect.
Yeah, like, and you're gonna spend that kind of money to go to a game, like, and like, we're only getting 2 of them this entire playoffs. Like, why would you leave early? Like, I don't like. Maybe if you're getting blown out like 7-1 and it's like way out of thing, whatever. But
Even then, I
like,
just stick around
yeah,
because they're still my boys. They're
yeah,
still doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. They're playing in a playoff game.
yeah.
And to Robbie's point is like, some fans, it's like any year that you don't win the cup, it's like, oh, trade everybody, trade Ovechkin, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, fire Carberry, who we just hired. Like, this is the garbage that I'm seeing. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking?
Those people are not.
Listen,
they don't understand.
That is so normal with any team, any league. At the end of the year, whether you make the playoffs, you don't make the playoffs, okay, that's like everybody rips the team a new one. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to fire the manager. We need to do this. It's like that's just what fans do. They just everybody has their own opinion. They think they know how to make the team work or be better. You know,
Just people need to understand, like, there's one team that wins the Stanley Cup every year. That's it.
Right.
And we won it not that long ago. It really was not that long ago.
My wife
only
always said that 6 years ago is so long ago. I'm like, no, don't say that. Like, I'm just
There's
happy we
teams
ever
that
won
have
it.
never
You
won.
need to
There's
live it.
teams that haven't won in like 57 years if you're the Maple Leafs. Like, you know,
30
Yeah.
for
lots
the
of teams
Rangers
that
now.
haven't
I was
won
gonna
in.
say, the Rangers is like 30 years, right?
30, yeah, 30
Yeah.
years now.
I was
remember
3
they
years
won right
old the last
before
time the
us.
Rangers won. Like that is a long time ago. Like for us 6 years ago, it's not that long ago, people.
No.
It's really
I remember
not.
that day,
And what
man. I
happens when you
remember
win
that
the Stanley Cup is you go through that phase of like all of those guys are going to get older and eventually they're not going to be on the team anymore, and then you rebuild, which is what we're starting to do now. Like it goes
Right.
through phases like that, and then you build it back up and then you'll contend again. Like that's
What
just
year
the
did you-
normal
what year
I
did you
mean,
guys-
we're
process.
just, and I've said this
2018.
before.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not, that's
And I've said this before. We're just, there you go. We're
Yeah.
just
We have
fortunate
all
that
three of these
we
within 2 years.
have we have the talent right now in our farm system that we haven't sunk to the doldrums like Detroit did, like Chicago did. We've been able to kind of be fairly steady throughout this process.
You only
Right.
missed the
It's
playoffs
not
one time in the last 8. I've done this show 9 seasons. I've covered playoffs
Right.
now, and I got to cover the Caps in it 8 of the 9 seasons. I mean,
There
that's
you
pretty good.
yeah.
And you know what? To C4's point, like that we have these kids who are coming up now, and so we haven't sunk all the way to the basement like a lot of these teams do. The reason why that's been the case is because the guys who the people now are screaming, you know, trade Ovechkin, trade Oshie, trade these guys. The reason why we have those kids who are ready to just come up is because we were able to leave them in the minor leagues longer, to cook longer down in the minor leagues, because Alex Ovechkin and
Exactly.
TJ Oshie and John Carlson and these guys have been so good for so much longer than anyone ever should be that good. Like it's actually ridiculous that
Right.
Ovechkin's been this good up until he's 38 years old. It's crazy. This is
He
the
had
first
another
playoffs
30
that
goal
he's-
season. I mean, that's remarkable.
I
Now
I know. I mean,
the
considering
most
how he started,
ever.
who knew? When he first started, they said, "Oh, he might be lucky if he scores 20," and he goes and scores 30. So
Yeah. And most guys are in their
I
prime
don't think he's
for
gonna
like
score
about
42
5-6
next year,
years,
though.
right? He's
Yeah,
been
no.
in his prime for 18 years. Like this is the first year I think that you could say like he's not in his prime anymore. Like he's
Right.
not
yeah,
Right.
this is
he's
the
not
first
gonna
year
hit
he's
It's gonna
shown some
50 or whatever,
weakness
but-
of sorts.
I mean,
if
he's
you
almost
will.
40.
He's
The
38.
yeah, it's crazy because it's always weird that I'm like exactly 1 year older than him, so I can always like remember his age that way. But like, I don't think he's gonna score 30 next year. I think he scores 20
No.
next year, 20 the following year, and then is forced to come back because he's just 2 goals shy, and then he scores 10 that year to break over 900. That's
There
my
you go.
on how we get Ovechkin for another year. But like, I
Well,
think
in the meantime, he's also teaching your newbies coming in,
yeah.
you know, some
Right.
great things.
Exactly.
Like he should train the next captain. And I honestly would think in that year where I think he scores 10 and breaks it, like I'd be okay if he hands over the captainship to somebody else and not be a captain for a season, but still like as a mentor, as an assistant captain, you know, for that
Co-captain.
year, you know, like
Yeah.
I would be okay with that, you know, be able to like pass on the torch. And because you got to remember, well, I guess they must have traded the captain before Ovechkin, right? Clark, did they trade him?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Columbus,
They
right?
did.
For Jason
But
Chimera.
he still
I think.
played with him
Chimera,
for a
yeah,
while,
yeah.
though, which I think was an important like pass the torch moment, like
That's something people don't take into account too. Like I've talked about that before. It's like everybody seems to just want to like as soon as a guy's like over 30, trade him. Well, you can't just have a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds running around out there. That's how you become the Columbus Blue Jackets and never get anywhere. Like you need
Right.
guys to help teach those guys
Yeah, you
how to
need
be
the
in the NHL,
Oshies,
how
the
to be a pro.
Carlsons, the Ovies,
Yeah.
the Wilsons, all those
Yeah,
guys. The
and
Dowds.
all of these young guys, they consistently talk about that, like how great the veterans on this team are with just showing them the way and teaching them, how to be a pro and all of that stuff. Like we have a pretty young defense right now in general. Like
Mhm.
all of those young defensemen, they all talk about John Carlson like as if he hung the moon in the sky. Like they love him.
Right.
Like they just say he's the best leader. He's so great. He's always helping us. He's staying on the ice late to help us work on this or that. Like, so these are not guys that you want to just get rid of for the sake of getting rid of them. And by the way, Ovechkin's still the team's leading goal scorer this season. Carlson is the leading ice time guy in the entire NHL. Like these are not players that you're just gonna toss out with the bathwater, right? Like it's
Well, actually, let's
Right.
talk about it for a second because I think it's an important thing, and I know that this segment's run longer than originally planned, but I kind of always knew that was going to happen. But so we've got two people under contract for another year, and I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. First of all, Nicholas Backstrom, we put him on long-term IR. Technically, we have him for another year. Do we pay out that year on long-term IR, or does he retire? What happens there? And then also, so that's
It'd be worse if he retired.
Yeah.
I think that
LTIR, I think, is how it's gonna go. I don't think I think he would have to be pretty nuts to retire and give up like $9.25 million or whatever
I
it
was
is.
looking at
Yeah.
what it is. It's 9.2 million. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
same
so
with Osh
I
with
don't
the 6
foresee him
million.
doing that, and I wouldn't expect him to. Like he signed the contract, he's entitled to the money.
Right.
But like if we put him on LTIR, which we're able to do, it doesn't affect us really at all. So I think that's an okay way of doing things. But
Do we have
Sorry
a
about
limit of
that.
how many people we can put on long-term IR, or is,
pardon?
Ooh, that's
is
a
there a
good
limit on
question.
how many players you can put on long-term IR, or does it not matter?
There's not a number of
Fantastic.
players. I believe it's a money limit,
Okay, so
which it might be different for next season than it is this season because the salary cap's going to go up. But
Oh, right. Yeah.
right. All right. And then the other part is TJ Oshie, right? Like, I love the guy. Clearly see that we're a different team with him out there. He just played with a broken hand. There's no questioning his commitment to the team and how much the team loves,
Yeah.
how much he loves them. But the poor guy just keeps on getting hurt. Like, I legit feel bad for him to the point
I
where, like,
know.
I think he's potentially harming his future life beyond hockey, and I just, he's taken so many head injuries and so many now has a broken hand, and he's got a young family. What,
Yeah. He needs to slow down.
yeah, like I love the guy. He puts everything out there. That's what you want, as a fan. But like as a father and as somebody who looks at him from a different perspective of that, I'm just like, oh, like it kills me that he has to go through all of that.
Yeah.
And
And he stayed out on the ice last. He was the last one to leave the ice and
yeah,
saluted
so
everybody. And
but
I
I
was
mean,
gonna ask if we were gonna talk about him because yeah, there was things circulating online that it was just a little bit weird how he stayed out on the ice longer and he was kind of taking it
Mhm.
all in and
Yeah.
to be fair, he could also be thinking, even if he does play next year, what happens if they don't make the playoffs? Because there's always a chance of that,
Mhm.
Right.
then that this might be the last playoff,
Or
home game that he
yeah.
does.
Or he may, do like Nick Backstrom and play a few games and then decide, nope.
yeah,
Yeah.
can't
So
do it, can't go. I think
I don't I
the
don't
back
think
injury
he's
is a huge issue
done.
for him.
Yeah, I would think the back injury. I see him trying to play next year. I really do. I don't see him retiring. Um, but I see him, doing like Nick did, try to play, but then ultimately end up on LTIR. By the way, this is DJ.
Okay. Yeah, Neville's on the other side of this camera, right?
So
I worry about him
Drives Bob has
I
the
worry
color.
about him as a guy because I just love him as a human being and as a person, and
mhm.
I worry about him with all of the concussions specifically.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that to me is
Yeah,
scary.
very
And
scary, especially in light of what happened with Chris Simon a few
yeah,
weeks back with
Yeah.
the
and like you see in this series, like Panarin chicken wings him elbow right in the head too. Like it's all it takes
yeah.
is one more of those, and it could really get ugly really quickly. So
I don't know if there got to be a better way of reffing or interpreting the calls. I don't know, but like with the Knicks
Well,
thing,
it would
let's
certainly
not
help if
talking
Stokes
Knicks.
was
I got
consistent.
lots of complaints about
Yeah, no, I mean in
inconsistencies.
all sports it's an issue, but my whole thing is if there is a consistent like feeling to try to get headshots out of all sports, then following up through the head, no matter where the initial point of contact is, it should be an ejection. If it
the
goes through
what
the head, it's an ejection. It
look
period.
at
It doesn't
the
matter where it starts.
look at the Tom Wilson on Brandon Carlo
Yeah.
from a few years ago. Wilson got suspended for 7 games for that, and he went through the body. He just got his head at the end, and they
Right.
suspended him for 7 games.
Yeah.
So how is
Well, what
that
was the hit
different?
that got him? What was the hit that got him 20 games in 2018?
Oh, that one was definitely a headshot.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
a
I know the
headshot,
one you're
but
talking about.
That wasn't
Yeah,
but here's the thing. You've got these headshots. Wilson gets 20 games.
yeah.
the one on Malenstein, the one on.
Rempe wasn't even questioned to my knowledge. Like even
That's
when
what I'm
No.
saying. That's
like,
what I'm
and
saying is that
yes, he's taller, and that the height differential, makes a difference in where he's going through the person. But
Well, I
like,
think
it's not carte blanche that I'm taller, I get to hit you in the head. Like,
that's why I'm
Right.
I think
comparing
that's
it
what
to
Scott was pointing out. There has to be a standard. There has to be a way that the refs, the rules are supposed to be clear, but the refs have
Their interpretation. There's
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
interpretation to it.
Exactly.
Like,
And then it doesn't help when
depends on the name
DOPS
on the back
doesn't
of your
look at it.
jersey and
Yeah, but
and the
that's
logo
the
on the
thing,
front.
right?
Yeah.
Because like it was called, one of them was called a 5-minute penalty. They seem to have seen enough in the replay to say it's nothing. It's a 2-minute power play the other way, and I'm like, how? Like that sends the wrong
Because
message. At least
yeah,
And
go
that-
down to a 2-minute maybe to say that it's not matching minors.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
And that's why I'm comparing these to the Tom Wilson one on Brandon Carlo, because the one that C4 is talking about, like the 20-game suspension, that was a blatant headshot. Like he should have been suspended. But the
Right.
one on Brandon Carlo, I didn't even think he was going to get suspended for that because he went through the body. Like he got his body first and then the head contact was after the fact, but he gets suspended for
Right.
7 games. So okay, if that's the standard, if it's any type of head contact is now a suspension, then Rempe should be out of this series. Panarin should be out of this series. Like it doesn't
Right.
make any sense. It just depends on what your last name is and what team you play for. That's what it seems like.
And if you've got a priors, right? But then like
yeah.
you never give somebody the first one, then they can never have a prior to like be done.
And people
Yeah.
confuse that because the priors thing is how it's written in the rule book is that your prior history is not supposed to determine whether or not you get suspended. It's supposed to like if they're supposed to determine they're supposed to determine if you're getting suspended or not, and then if you are getting suspended based on the act that you committed, then at that point your prior history is allowed to come in to determine the length of it.
Yeah, it's no one discusses it that in those terms.
Right.
It's very frustrating.
And like we've all said before, it doesn't help that DOPS doesn't look at these consistently either. I mean, if you have a guy get hit in the head where the concussion team spotter comes out, takes the guy off the ice, takes him down the tunnel, that should at least get looked at by DOPS. Whether or not a penalty was called or not, it should still be looked at.
How do you take
a
concussion spotter and it goes from 5 to nothing? Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
No,
like,
and
if the league's own concussion spotter says, "Wow, you must have a head injury after that hit," then how is that not looked at?
I don't think it helped that she came back either. So he was deemed okay to come back and play, but still,
not all of our players. So many of our players during the course of this season,
I mean,
on defense of how many players.
And then like the hit to Iorio, no, it wasn't to the head, but it was a season-ending injury. How do you, I don't know if I didn't actually see the hit, so I don't know.
That one is kind of an awkward into the board situation where is there charging, is there boarding, there's all these, it's tough to slow it down and get it. But the problem is he goes down and he's injured. The play's supposed to be blown dead. Why they're able to score a goal after that is beyond me, to
me that one was to me that one on Iorio, like that was not a suspension or a 5-minute major or anything. It should have been probably a 2-minute boarding penalty, or at the very least the play should have been blown dead because he's laying in the corner with an obvious head injury, and they just allow the play to continue for some reason, and the Rangers score a goal because Iorio's guy is standing all alone in front of the net, wide open, because Iorio's laying over in the corner with a head injury. Like that's crap. It's just.
It should be a blown dead call. Like I'm not saying it was a penalty, blown dead call. And like so the fact that you're able to score a goal and then
it goes to the consistency of the referee,
they get 2 more goals,
Right.
Like my issue with the officiating in the series was not so much like a power play discrepancy or anything like that, because as Robbie said, like we were getting some calls, we just weren't scoring on our power plays. That's our own fault. My issue was more so that there was a few different instances where the Rangers got a goal directly after a blatant non-call or non-whistle. So
Right.
that was kind of more my issue. It wasn't so much
Especially
like
because in the first period of that game, everything was called. So they were under the impression that
Well,
if
that-
it
Well, that
headed,
was
they
the,
were
that
going
was
to
the
blow
biggest.
that's
that
the
was
whole
Yeah,
game.
there's
Right,
there was no
exactly.
consistency in the calling. You
that was
didn't
the
know what was going to
problem.
get called. We were talking about that the other day, Gil.
That was the
That's
problem.
the
It
whole
throws
thing.
off the rhythm of the whole game.
Like when are you're either you're gonna let us play and hit and whatever,
Right there. Yeah.
Or you're not.
you're gonna call it because we're hitting. Like don't like just do the whole series like with the same feel, man. Like don't teeter-totter or even in the whole game. Like it's I don't know, man.
Yeah, it needs to be like I can understand game to game being differently called, but period to period has got to be the same. Like it's ridiculous to overcall the first period and then undercall the second period and
Well,
not
like you
Yeah.
said, some of the
Yeah.
calls we
guard,
looked at too, which is just
Yeah.
like
It
you
was a
gotta
penalty on
question it.
Tuesday. It's not a penalty on Wednesday. Okay, fine. But minute one to the last minute, come on.
Yeah.
The
Right.
call's got to be the same.
Yeah, you
Right.
can
Yeah.
understand game to game because it's a different set of referees, but period to period, like Robbie said, that's just it. First
That's
period, it's
insane.
like everything's getting
Everything was
called.
called.
We're
I was
sitting
like-
there going,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness, this is a lot of power plays for a playoff game. Holy cow!" And then second period, all of a sudden, lost my whistle. Don't know where it went.
Right.
Yeah.
It
But
just
Jenaya, what was even more surprising is it was the same team that called our previous game that called no penalties, and it was the
Yeah.
same refs. I was like, wait, it's the same guys. Why are they calling everything now? Like it was just that was even more wild. Like you'd
Yeah.
expect that if it's the same refs, they would call it the same. Especially they would usually call less in a in the playoffs, not more. It was the whole thing was
the
bizarre.
playoffs in that way are honestly getting pretty hard to watch. Like just from an officiating standpoint, it's getting pretty hard to watch, to be honest. It's you watch other games
Ooh.
too, like between other teams. It's just
Oh.
it's so different night to night that nobody knows what a call is. Everybody talks about it. Like you don't know none of the players know what the standard is. So
and Gil and I and John were talking about that on his podcast the other night. Same thing. It's like you just don't know.
Yep.
So the guys start playing a little gun. Dallas just scored. It's 1-1 Dallas and Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, what I'm happy about because I really want Dallas to come
but
back and make this a series.
yeah, there's just been no consistency in the calls, and I was going somewhere before I got distracted by the shiny hockey game on the screen.
I understand. I will say the Lakers are up over Denver, but they were up in the first quarter in almost every game in the series, and that has only yielded them so far one win. Yeah, but I am happy that the Stars were able to tie it up 1-1, 2:08 left in the first period. I am gonna have to start to wrap this up because I do have people that
Yeah.
want to talk about other sports, and I appreciate that we want to continue to talk hockey, but I also well, Jenaya is lucky because it's on the West Coast for her, so timing is fine for her. But yeah, the rest of you guys I know do need
still
to.
sunny outside.
Yeah, it's still that's wild.
Is it always sunny in Vancouver?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Vancouver is so gloomy in general. Like it's very cloudy and rainy. In the summer it's sunny, but like in general in the winter, it doesn't really snow here or anything like that. Like it doesn't get too cold here at all, but it's just like rain
a
all
lot
through
like
the.
Seattle weather, right?
It's very similar. Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, well, Jenaya, I've loved your podcast all the time. If you would like to come back on and talk more playoff hockey, you're always welcome to continue to come on the show in the upcoming weeks. I really
Now, do you stop doing the show once the Caps are out? Like in the
No, so every year I do it differently. So I'll let people know what I'm gonna do this year. This year I'm gonna cover it sports until the end of the Defenders season, which is the XFL or now UFL team. So I will cover sports until basically the first week of June. So I'll cover the other teams in the playoffs in the NHL, and then I've been covering the NBA playoffs, and then we'll cover the Defenders, DC United. The Nats are obviously in it. So I mean, literally, I could cover them all year round, right, because of the Nationals and things. But
Right.
I do take a few months off in the summer to spend time with the kids at the pool and
Gotcha.
do all that kind of stuff. I am going to come back in the middle of the summer and do a series though about the Olympics because the Olympics is during the summer. I do cover the Olympics whenever it is. So I will take a little break. We'll come back for the Olympics. I'll take another little break, and then when the football season starts,
That's cool.
we'll
That's
pick
cool.
it up.
That's something different too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that'll be really fun because a lot of people will come on this show from all over the world to talk Olympics with me because I had a lot of
Yeah.
Canadians on before and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and so it's a lot of fun because everyone has a different favorite sport and
Cool beans. Cool beans.
that. But let me finish stuff off with the hockey people because then I'm going to talk Scott a little basketball and bring some of my basketball guys in as well so that Scott can talk a little bit of Knicks with them. But Jenaya, you've been awesome. I'm so happy we got to have you on a bunch of times this season. And the invitation is open if you'd like to talk more playoff hockey in the upcoming weeks. I know that we're going to have C4 talk about the Hershey Bears. I know that Gil's going to talk a little hockey with me as well. But the invitation is open.
Nice.
But I do know that the cap season is over, and I know that you are a very busy lady. But I really do appreciate you coming on this cap season, regardless if you can come on in future episodes this year.
It's been so much fun. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I made it on quite a few times this it's been fun. We did quite a few episodes. So and it was nice to get to know Gil and Anna better and now C4 as well and now Scott as well. So it's been fun. I'm glad that we got at least 4 games of playoff hockey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So happy that we did too.
Absolutely.
And thank you for breaking it down with us, and it's been a lot of fun. And so, Scott, if you don't know, Janae and I have run a Caps Facebook group together for over a decade. I say now, so that's how we've been friends for a long time. She does her own Caps podcast, and so we thought it'd be fun. This season, we've been on in the show together a bunch.
Collabing. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. She lives up in Vancouver, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So she's up in Vancouver?
Yeah, but
far away Caps fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a Rush fan by any chance?
Not really.
Not really. All right.
Only I'm not saying like I don't like I'm not saying I don't like them. I just haven't I don't know. That's
yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah, Scott can drum almost every Rush song that has ever existed, which is
nice.
That's actually impressive.
No, I'm not like
those are not easy songs to drum.
No, they're fun. They're fun. I love Rush. My favorite band ever, and the Canadian.
I do like Rush a lot. I love Rush.
You should come on Twitch. I know I've been trying to get C4 to come on Twitch for a long time, but you should come on one of his streams twice a week. He plays every Rush song imaginable, and you can request whatever you want. It's pretty awesome.
I downloaded Twitch. It confuses me. Same as Twitter. Twitter confuses me. Twitch and Twitter confuse me. I'm just like, nope.
If Scott can figure out Twitch, you can figure out Twitch.
It took me a while, man. I'm still figuring it out, though.
I just want to clarify.
You can walk me through it.
I just want to clarify because in case there's any Canadians listening to this, I'm not anti-Rush because I know everybody's going to be like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? I haven't listened to any of it. It's a little bit like, I think before my time, maybe, I don't know, but I haven't heard any of their stuff.
That's your defense. That's fair. Like your fans should understand that. So
I'm just ignorant to it. It's not that I do not like Rush. So
I highly recommend it. Take a listen.
Yeah, it's good music. So
I will do that tonight.
I like to drive, like good driving music.
Yeah.
Roll down the windows and turn it up and just drive.
Definitely.
And in the Mustang, nothing better.
Nice.
Yeah, see, my stuff is like I don't know, like Biggie and like shit like that. So it's like
she's not gonna like Rush. Don't worry about it.
You might like Rush.
Janaya's lit. Biggie, that's what's up.
I knew Ken Peoples-Champ would like that, so that's awesome.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor, yeah,
I do like Taylor.
Yeah, so
I'm not a massive Swiftie, but Swiftie, whatever they call them. Yeah. But I do like her music.
Yeah, I don't mind her music. So, Scott, do you play any Taylor Swift? You must, right? You play everything.
I have some Taylor Swift charts. I haven't really, since I stopped doing weddings, I haven't really done Taylor Swift stuff.
Do people ever request it on your stream? Do you have it in the?
Not a lot. Not very rare. So they request Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Scott's got everything in his song list.
Yeah, I'll play anything you want, man. Pop.
Literally any YouTube video, he'll throw it in, he'll drum to it. So
that's right. Cool. You can have no drums. I'll
awesome.
Just make up the drum part to it.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
That's fucking awesome.
That was amazing.
Hanging and having fun, man. That's all.
Yeah. So we have fun on Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure. So all right, well, C4, we'll definitely have you on to talk more Hershey, Bears and stuff. I appreciate all of the help you've given us on this season as well. And Gil, I know that we'll talk a little bit more playoff hockey, but this has been a fun cap season, and we got bonus games, 2 actually 3 extra episodes in theory of Caps talk that we got to at least get excited about. So.
And for the record, I'm going to my first pro soccer game Saturday. We're going to the DC United game.
Nice.
I'm not a huge soccer fan, but we're going just because.
Come back next week and talk about it because we cover the DC United, and I haven't yet to go to a game this season. So you can talk about the Hershey Bears and DC United next Monday if you're around.
I should be, but I'm not a big soccer. I don't know a lot about soccer. My youngest sister used to play, but she's like 11 and a half years younger than me.
I can take you through it.
But I mean, I understand it. It's almost like hockey on the ground. I mean, I watched it. It's not like I don't understand the game.
C4. I don't understand soccer either, and I'm sitting here covering DC United and talking about it on this podcast. and I'm an African American from Southeast DC. Okay, so if I could come on here and talk about DC United, if I can come on here and talk about DC United being from Southeast, you can come on here and talk about your experience at Aldi's Field. Come on now.
All right, I will do it. Well, I'm a hockey girl, so hockey's my thing.
Hey, it's like hockey on grass. It's a similar.
It is like hockey on grass. So.
They flop a lot more and they don't get the fight. So those are 2 parts. I'm sure that I have Booyah Acoustic. Guillermo is joining us in chat. He's from Brazil right now, which is cool. Cool. He is a big soccer fan, so I'm sure he's loving this conversation. We will. We'll have you back on next week, hopefully to talk about hockey and maybe some soccer. And Jenaya will maybe have you as part of our off-season talk or playoff talk if you have some time as well. And Gil will have you on next week as well. But thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. I know that we went like 90 minutes instead of 60, but I thought it was a fun conversation for sure.
Yeah, and thanks, Arun and DC Champ. Thanks for waiting, being patient with us all.
Yeah.
Well, we spent like 20 minutes just getting riled up about Matt Rempe. So
yeah, that's about what I tuned. That's what I tuned in. I had the camera and stuff.
I was listening to you guys. I was like,
I'm thinking, okay, no, just keep your mouth shut, Cheryl Ann. Just no.
Yeah, like in total, we spent like half hour.
I really do appreciate it, and we've had a fun season, and I can't wait to pick it up again in the fall.
Great things are coming, man. Great things are coming. I am so freaking proud of this team.
Yeah.
Good luck to your Caps.
Thank you, and to the Rangers. Scott. I hope you don't get blown out by Carolina.
Yeah. Well,
that's going to be a tough series.
You never know what's going to happen with the Rangers.
That's true. You never know.
You really never know what's going to happen with these guys. So
it was a well played. All in all, it was a well played series. So I have no complaints.
It's the Rangers. So
yeah, that's true.
Wow.
And we do know who your coach is.
Robbie was telling me that. Robbie was saying, I don't know, I'm not too familiar with the coach. So Robbie was like, oh
no, he's got taken so many teams to the Stanley Cup.
He's actually a good coach for other teams.
He's a very good coach for a veteran team. That's the difference. Yes. He's just not good with kids. He's not good with kids.
Well, the Rangers are mostly veterans.
Right. And that's why it worked so well.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Rangers was a much better fit for him than we were. So, I mean, in that respect, I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's doing well. So, it's just, I wish he had done well here, but it happens and life moves on, right?
Yeah. He kind of honestly got screwed here in the way that like the first couple of years when we did have that veteran team and we could have done something, we had so many injuries at the end of each of those seasons that
he was kind of forced.
I just wish we had brought him in one coach earlier. Do you know what I'm saying? Like instead of like if we had brought him
instead of Reardon,
we wasted 2 years with Todd Reardon. That is the bane of my existence. That we wasted those 2 years with Todd Reardon.
That team for those 2 years, we could have gone.
We may have gotten.
Totally could have gone back to back.
At least had a better chance. But absolutely.
Yeah, well, we should have just kept Trotz. That was like the most idiotic move ever. I think we all agree that, like, how do you win a Stanley Cup and not keep the coach?
Well, it's just a pissing match, right, between ownership and the coach, and
give him whatever he wants. It goes nothing.
That's what I would have done, but I am not a billionaire. And I don't
everything. But... give him back up the Briggs truck. I don't know. I don't right. Like Fuck, I think that was
Hey,
definitely
the man.
that hurt us for a cup.
I mean, he won us our first cup in franchise history, so I feel like if I was Leonsis in that situation, I would have been like, not only how much money do you want? I'll give you whatever you do. You want one of my kidneys? Like, what do you want? Like, you can have whatever you want. Just stay. That's it.
Right?
Don't go to our rival team too. Like just and then like anyway, the whole thing, and then COVID, and it just like it all kind of spiraled out of control at that point, you know.
Yeah.
But the fact that we haven't, that we're still able to be a playoff team, and only a couple years removed is still impressive. So
Definitely.
Yep.
It
Exactly.
was a 1 year miss, and that was it. It's pretty good.
pretty good. Yep.
Yep.
Hopefully we won't
Yep.
again. So. All right.
And I know we got swept, so I'm not gonna be like Rod Brindamore and try to say that we didn't really get swept. Like, you lose 4 straight games. You lose 4 straight games to begin a series. That's a sweep. So I'm not gonna do the Rod Brindamore thing, but I think the games were close. They played extremely well as they could through all the injuries and everything else.
Through all the injuries and the exhaustion, and those guys were exhausted.
Oh, definitely, man.
You can see it.
Definitely. Especially playing their ass off down the stretch, like just
to beat Boston and Toronto, and all these games that people just didn't give them any credit for.
Yeah. Well, we were the only team that shut out Boston this year.
Yeah,
we did it twice.
We did
twice.
Wow, twice. Nice.
And it was Lindgren in goal both times.
And I'll still remember the fun game where we won 4-0 on my birthday over the Rangers. So,
there we go.
So,
all right.
Well, you remember that. Well, I'll
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let the hockey guys go, and I'm gonna bring my basketball guys in because I know that this is like 40 minutes after I told them.
Man. Go.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
You guys have a
Good
good
night,
night.
all. Nice to meet you, Scott.
Great meeting you, Scott.
Yeah, we'll
to meet
talk
you.
soon. Nice to see you again, Janaya.
Pleasure to meet you.
You as well. Good luck
All
to your Rangers, Scott.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Appreciate it.
All
Have a good one.
Night,
Bye.
guys. Night, Jenaya.
Be
Good
well.
night.
I'm gonna bring in